Alright, hey guys, it's Simon here. We're in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. We are looking at the Pantheon today. I think there'll be a good... Wait a minute, do you guys see that? Do you guys see that right above my head right there? There's light leaking through the corner of the portico. Alright, so that's a graphical glitch. It's not supposed to do that. Interesting. Anyway, so today we're looking at the Pantheon, which is this thing. I guess second to the Colosseum. This is probably the second most recognizable building in Rome. Alright, so let's just let's see what the game has to say about it. So it's a big round thing with a portico on one side and a hole in the ceiling. I guess that pretty much sums up the Pantheon. Let's see if we can find the Pantheon in the database. There's a lot of stuff for us to look at, isn't there? Eventually. Here it is, the Pantheon. So, the game database says that this architectural wonder still stands as the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome 2,000 years after being built. That's mostly because nobody bothers to build unreinforced concrete domes now. I mean, why would you not reinforce it? Anyway, so it's still the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome. The opening at the dome's center, known as an oculus, is the singular source of light for the immense chamber. Constructed in 126 CE by Marcus Agrippa as a temple to all the ancient Roman gods, the Pantheon has since become a beacon of Christianity. The structure has been burned, rebuilt, robbed, modified, torn down, and renovated so many times. The interior contains a myriad of conflicting icons and symbols. Apparently most gods had this building constructed in their honor. I, however, recommend worshipping at the modern-day espresso bar surrounding it. So that's completely pointless. So it doesn't really tell us very much about the Pantheon. Should we run around for a little bit? I mean, the exterior is just like a brick cylinder, which is not that interesting. It's just that giant brick cylinder. But the interior, I mean, there's the portico, a lot of columns up front. But the interior is like this. Oh, that's good. Hey, look at these lighting effects. That's actually pretty good, those lighting effects. Look at that. So the light kind of comes in the top, right? I still think it's a little bit too bright in here. But I think we have high dynamic range lighting going on, so this is not too bad. Also more gold than I expected, the interior. So it's like this. Actually, it's not really big enough, is it? Alright, well let's see what the internet has to say, mostly Wikipedia. So we're gonna go and look at images, and we're gonna look at Wikipedia. Is there anything else? Nothing else really. Let's go look at images first. So the interior, is that a picture or a drawing? So you see how difficult it is to take a photo of the interior. Mostly people use a fisheye lens to try to capture as much of the interior as possible. Like it's a circle, it's a high ceiling, there's light coming in, but it's not really... Like it's one of those things where you can't really photograph it. You kind of have to be inside to understand it because it's all around you. And there's light kind of coming in one side at the top like this, right? That's like midday, which is pretty cool. So all of these photos, like they're all distorted, the shapes, because everyone's using a fisheye lens to try to capture the entire space. And it's not really reasonable. Like the picture you get out of it is not really all that helpful. I wonder if we can get like a... Well, there's the plan of it. Can we get like a panoramic image? What if I go to Google Maps? Do you think Google Maps has a panoramic image of the interior? What if I go to here? Can I go to Street View? Like, does Street View take me inside the Pantheon? I don't think it does. Actually, wait. No, I don't think it does. See, what if I go to here and say what's here, and then get a street view? Oh crap. Wait, really? Oh, that sucks. Oh well, the Steam browser doesn't do street views. What if I do Pantheon panorama? And I don't want a maps. How do I get back out? Actually, let's go back to Google. Pantheon panorama. Can I get like a 360 cities? Can I? Does this work in the Steam? It probably doesn't. It probably needs a plugin. Although, no. Well, let's see if it loads. No, I don't think it does. Yeah, I don't think the Steam browser. Well, I mean, if you want to, you can do this in your own time, I guess, and try to sort this out yourself. Just go to Chrome or whatever browser you're using. Try and look up a panorama, just to get the like so you can look around you, not just kind of look at a picture. What is this? Pantheon. Yeah, this is not all that helpful. So it looks just like how it does in the game. Although actually I'm kind of interested to see the scale. Just because I am interested in that sort of thing. So yeah, it's pretty well recreated. Basically a perfect recreation. So let's just see. So the columns are like this. She's up to there. And maybe like this doorway. See how big this doorway is? The doorway is about the height of 2 people. And this thing is up to her thighs, right? The base of the columns. Let me just come back out here. So, wait a minute. We're missing a door. That's not the main door because that's the main door. Alright, we're missing a door completely. And these columns are way too small. These columns are way too small because you saw that, right? Just the base of it is up to that woman's thighs. So the real thing might be twice as big. So see how wide this is. So if I can lie down, this from the base of the column here to the base of the column here, that's like 1.5 meters, isn't it? Or maybe 1.7. Like if I lie down, if Ezio actually, if I can borrow you, and let me just flop this guy down right here, if I can. Like if I drop him, no, drop him. That's not really good. Come this way. Let me just sort of flop him down horizontally. There. Right, so you see this. So this is about 1.7 meters from one column to the other there, right? We go back to that. Yeah, that's much bigger. That's like 3 meters. Right? You see her there. Maybe she's kind of short. Maybe she's 1.5. So maybe that's like 2.5 meters from there to there. So I guess the scale of the real thing is somewhere between twice as big or a third. So something somewhere between. So actually, what I'm trying to say. So the thing in game is somewhere between half to 3/4, or maybe like 2/3 full size. So if you count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns here, and then 3 columns back. Let me just count the columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, hold on. Wait. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, never mind. That's right. Alright. So 8 columns there, 3 columns back. And in the game is 3 columns back. So they've got the right number of columns. But this thing is kind of smaller than in real life. In fact, it's significantly smaller than in real life. If you can imagine this thing 50% bigger, that's the real thing. So it's much bigger. Much bigger in real life than it is in here. Yeah, much bigger. Alright, what else can we see? There's a section I guess not too much. I mean, aside from the scale, you know, the thing in the game is a pretty good recreation of the thing in real life, so that's fine. Pantheon plan? Pantheon, we don't get panorama. Plan looks like that, which I guess you can, I guess you figured that out already. Kind of like a sphere and then stuff like that, so you can draw all sorts of shapes in here. There's like a circle and a square and whatnot. It's all very geometrically interesting. Fascinating. Alright, let's see what Wikipedia has to say. So the Wikipedia says, the Pantheon, from Greek, an adjective understood as temple consecrated to all gods. Basically, Pantheon is just all the gods. Is a building in Rome, Italy, commissioned by Marcus Agrippa during the reign of Augustus as a temple to all the gods of ancient Rome, and rebuilt by the Emperor Hadrian about 126 AD. Oh, interesting. Oh, wait a minute. It was first built during the reign of Augustus, but it was rebuilt by Hadrian. So what did the original one look like? Was it like this, or was it something else? The building is circular with a portico of large granite Corinthian columns, 8 in the first rank and 2 groups of 4 behind. Under a pediment, a rectangular vestibule links the porch to the rotunda, which is under a coffered concrete dome with a central opening oculus to the sky. Alright, let's go through that. So the building is circular with a portico of large granite Corinthian columns. So this is circular. This is the portico, the stuff in front here. Large circular Corinthian columns. Corinthian refers to the thing at the top there. Actually, is that correct? I wonder if that's correct. Hold on, let me just go back to... I shouldn't have closed it, shouldn't I? That image was pretty good. The one I had earlier was pretty big. This one. Let's go back to this. Huh. You see how the ones at the corners are different from the ones in the middle. This is not the right picture neither. In the game, they're all the same. Anyway. So 8 in the first rank, 2 groups of 4 behind. Wait a minute. Oh, there's not... behind the front is only 1, 2, 3 and 4, alright. Whereas in the game, it's 8 all the way back? No, let's see, it's a 1, 2... Oh, this is right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then back here, there's only 1, 2, 3 and 4 per row. Well, that's pretty good. Alright, that's accurate. Well done. A large rectangular vestibule links the porch to the rotunda. So the porch is here, the rotunda is there. Large rectangular vestibule. Not that large, is it? I mean, how is it in the plan? How is it in Alright, well it's about right. It's not that large. I guess it's okay, it's kinda large. Under a coffered concrete dome with a central opening to the sky. So the coffering is the square bits. See those square things? See those kind of little shape kind of cut into the dome? It makes the dome lighter without compromising the structure of it. That's why they do that. So I mean the ribs, right, and then the other ribs, like they form the structure of the dome. So the horizontal and the vertical bits, and then just kind of leave kind of like thinner holes in between. So the dome, like as a whole, is not as heavy, and so there's less material to hold up. So that's a fairly common trick with these old masonry domes, or concrete domes. Almost 2,000 years after it was built, the Pantheon's dome is still the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome The height to the oculus and the diameter of the interior circle are the same. 43.3 meters. Interior 43.3 meters? 43.3 meters. If I can borrow that body again. Ah, crap, it's gone. Oh no, there it is. My bad. Alright, it's still here, yes. Let's pick up this body again. 43.3 meters, supposedly. We'll assume that this guy is 1.7 meters tall. So that, 2 of him is 3 meters? Wait a minute, no it's not. 2 of him is 3.5 meters. I'm just gonna drop him here. That's not really helpful. Can I drop him right there? Alright, good. So that's approximately 1.7. So maybe that is 3. Actually, we should get the size of one of these squares, shouldn't we? We're just approximating, probably not very accurately neither. 1.7. So let's say a square plus the rectangle but next to it is 2 meters. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So is this thing exactly half as big as the real thing then? 22, 43, I think it is. I think this thing might actually be exactly half as big as the real thing. If this is accurate, I don't know how accurate this is. If we assume that's 1.7, if we assume that's 2 meters, then yeah, it looks like it's only half as big as the real thing. So you're just gonna have to imagine how this thing would be if it's twice as big. So from here to the other wall, and then double that size, and that's how big the circle is. So this is pretty wimpy compared to how big it is in the real world. A bit of a shame, but at least it's accurate, it's an accurate scale model. It is one of the best preserved of all ancient Roman buildings. It has been in continuous use throughout its history, and since the 7th century, the Pantheon has been used as a Roman Catholic church dedicated to St. Mary and the Martyrs, but informally known as Santa Maria Rotunda. The square in front of the Pantheon is called Piazza della Rotunda, the Rotunda Square. So etymology, Pantheon is derived from the ancient Greek Pantheon, or Pantheon, meaning of relating to or common to all the gods. Pan meaning all and Theon meaning God. Cassius Dio, a Roman senator who wrote in Greek, speculated that the name comes either from the statues of so many gods placed around this building, or from the resemblance of the dome to the heavens. I'm pretty sure that the temple is dedicated to all the Roman gods, basically. Since the French Revolution, when the Church of Sainte Genevieve in Sainte Genevieve in Paris was deconsecrated and turned into the secular monument called the Pantheon of Paris, the generic term Pantheon has sometimes been applied to other buildings in which illustrious dead are honored or buried, which it shouldn't be. History: in the aftermath of the Battle of Actium, Marcus Agrippa built and dedicated the original Pantheon during his third consulship. Located in the Campus Martius, at the time of its construction, the area of the Pantheon was on the outskirts of Rome. Oh, well, that makes sense. It's usually difficult to build a massive building in the middle of a city because you have to demolish other buildings to make way. So usually you find these things on the outskirts of a city, and then the city will grow to, encompass the building. And the area had a rural appearance. Under the Roman Republic, the Campus Martius also had served as a gathering place for elections and the army. However, under Augustus and the new Principate, both institutions were deemed to be unnecessary within the city. Elections were unnecessary under Augustus. The construction of the Pantheon was part of a program of construction that was undertaken by Augustus Caesar and his supporters. They built more than 20 structures on the Campus Martius, including the Baths of Agrippa and the Saeter Julia. It had long been thought that the current building was built by Agrippa, with later alterations undertaken, and this was in part because of the inscription on the front of the temple, which reads M. Agrippa LF Cos. Okay, well that's missing some letters. In full, Marcus Agrippa, Luci Filius Consul Tertium Facit, meaning Marcus Agrippa, son of Lucius, made this building when council for the third time. However, archaeological excavations have shown that the Pantheon of Agrippa had been completely destroyed except for the facade. So only the front face of it is the one that belongs to Agrippa. Which is why this remains at the front. And Emperor Hadrian was responsible for rebuilding the Pantheon on the site of Agrippa's original temple. There had been 2 earlier buildings on the same spot for which the new Pantheon was a replacement. Okay. The form of Agrippa's Pantheon is debated, so we don't know basically. As a result of excavations in the late 19th century, archaeologist Rodolfo Lanciani concluded that Agrippa's Pantheon was oriented so that it faced south, in contrast to the current layout that faces north. Really? So this is the back of the building? Really? And that it had a shortened T-shaped plan with the entrance at the base of the T. Okay, this description was widely accepted until the late 20th century. More recent archaeological digging suggests that the building might have taken a different form. Agrippa's Pantheon might have had a circular form with a triangular porch. Triangular porch? And it might have also faced north, much like the later rebuildings. It was decorated with caryatids. Those are basically statues that are also columns. So they're statues of people holding up the building, and then they also are, so they're kind of statues and columns at the same time. And pyramid sculpture commissioned from Diogenes of Athens, whose work has either been lost or not securely identified as such. The Augustan Pantheon was destroyed along with other buildings in a huge fire in 80. Domitian, or is it Domitian? Domitian, right? Rebuilt the Pantheon, which burned again in 110. Not long after the second fire, construction started again, according to a recent re-evaluation of the bricks dated with manufacturer's stamps. Therefore, the design of the building should not be credited to Hadrian or his architects. Instead, the design of the extant building might belong to Trajan's architect, Apollodorus of Damascus. So we don't even know who built this thing. The degree to which the decorative scheme should be credited to Hadrian's architects is uncertain. Finished by Hadrian but not claimed as one of his works, it used the text of the original inscription on the new facade, a common practice in Hadrian's rebuilding projects all over Rome. The only building on which Hadrian puts his own name is the temple to the deified Trajan. How the building was actually used is not known. Interesting. So Hadrian went around building a lot of buildings, but he put the original inscription back on the new buildings. Funny that. Cassius Dio, a Greco-Roman senator, consul, and author of a comprehensive history of Rome, writing approximately 75 years after the Pantheon's reconstruction, mistakenly attributed the dome building to Agrippa rather than Hadrian. So basically he just read the front and said, oh, it's Agrippa's building. Dio appears to be the only near contemporaneous writer to mention the Pantheon. Even by the year 200, there was uncertainty about the origin of the building and its purpose. According to Cassius Dio, Agrippa finished the construction of the building called the Pantheon. It has this name perhaps because it received among the images which decorated it the statues of many gods, including Mars and Venus, but my own opinion of the name is that because of its vaulted roof it resembles the heavens. But nobody cares about your opinion, bro. It's the Pantheon. It has all the gods inside. How is that not obvious? In 202, the building was repaired by the joint emperors Septimius Severus and his son Caracalla, fully Marcus Aurelius Antonius, for which there is another smaller inscription on the architrave of the facade. Interesting. Under the aforementioned larger text, this now barely legible inscription reads, I'm not going to read that. In English this means Emperor Caesar Lucius Septimius Severus Pius Pertinax, victorious in Arabia, victor of Diabene, the great victor in Parthia, Pontifex Maximus, 10 times tribune, 11 times emperor, 3 times consul, Pater Patriae, proconsul and emperor Caesar Marcus Aurelius Antonius Pius Felix Augustus, 5 times tribune, consul, proconsul, have carefully restored the Pantheon ruined by age. His name, that's the first guy's name, and then that's the second guy's name. These guys. Alright, so in the medieval times, wait a minute, there's 2 extra things. There's 2 bell towers. Anyway, in 609, the Byzantine Emperor Phocas gave the building to Pope Boniface the Fourth, who converted it into a Christian church and consecrated it to Santa Maria ad Martyrs, now known as Santa Maria del Martiri. Another Pope Boniface asked the same Emperor Phocas in Constantinople to order that in the old temple called the Pantheon, after the pagan filth was removed, a church should be made to the Holy Virgin Mary and all the martyrs, so that the commemoration of the saints would take place henceforth where not gods but demons were formerly worshipped. Christians. The building's consecration as a church saved it from the abandonment, destruction, and the worst of the spoliation that befell the majority of ancient Rome's buildings during the early medieval period. Paul the Deacon records the spoliation of the building by the Emperor Constans II, who visited Rome in July 663. Remaining at Rome 12 days, he pulled down everything that in ancient times had been made of metal for the ornament of the city, to such an extent that he even stripped off the roof of the Church of the Blessed Mary, which at one time was called the Pantheon. Oh, interesting. And had been founded in honor of all the gods, and was now by the consent of the former rulers of the place of all the martyrs. And he took away from there the bronze tiles and set them with all the other ornaments to sent them with all the other ornaments to Constantinople. So he took all the bronze from Rome back to Constantinople to make weapons, I guess, or he just stole the bronze. Much fine external marble has been removed over the centuries. Capitals from some of the pilasters are in the British Museum. The British did not help. 2 columns were swallowed up in the medieval buildings that abutted the Pantheon on the east and were lost. In the early 17th century, Urban VIII Barberini tore away the bronze ceiling of the portico and replaced the medieval campanile with the famous twin towers, often wrongly attributed to Bernini, called the ass's ears, which were not removed until late 19th century. The only other loss has been the external sculptures which adorn the pediment above Agrippa's inscription. The marble interior has largely survived, although with extensive restoration. So all the metal and marble has been removed from the outside. These guys. Since the Renaissance, the Pantheon has been used as a tomb. Among those buried there are the painters Raphael, Sancia da Urbino, and Annibale Carracci, the composer Arcangelo Corelli, and the architect Baldassare Peruzzi. In the 15th century, the Pantheon was adorned with paintings, the best known as the Annunciation by Melozzo da Forlì. Architects like Brunelleschi, who used the Pantheon as help when designing the Cathedral of Florence's dome, looked to the Pantheon as inspiration for their works. So, yeah, so the Cathedral of, remember the Duomo back in Florence? So that was the biggest dome since the Pantheon. Or was it the biggest, the first time a dome was built bigger than the Pantheon? I don't remember. But Brunelleschi came here to learn how to build a giant dome, basically. Although I don't know how much he learned. Have I told you, like, there's a chain at the drum of the dome? I don't know if Brunelleschi knew that. Pope Urban VIII ordered the bronze ceiling of the Pantheon's portico melted down. Most of the bronze was used to make bombards for the fortification of Castel San Angelo, with the remaining amount used by the Apostolic Camera for various other works. So they stole the bronze to make weapons. It is also said that the bronze was used by Bernini in creating his famous baldachin above the high altar of St. Peter's Basilica. But according to at least one expert, the Pope's accounts state that about 90% of the bronze was used for the cannon, and that the bronze for the baldachin came from Venice. This led the Roman satirical figure Pasquino to quip. I'm not going to try and read that, but basically what the barbarians did not do, the Barberini did. Basically destroy the final monument in Rome and stole all the bronze. In 1747, the broad frieze above or below the dome, with its false windows, was restored, but bore little resemblance to the original. In the early decades of the 20th century, a piece of the original, as could be reconstructed from Renaissance drawings and paintings, was created in one of the panels. Let's see. So let's have a look at this. So it looks like that on the inside now. Apparently, oh wait, this is nothing like the picture. Maybe this is what it's supposed to look like originally. Because if you look at the interior now, there's these triangular things and these square things and the little openings. Let me see if I can find an interior. Yeah, so it looks like that today. Except that, I think it's the restored one. I see. Okay, I see. So the game designers took the original and put that in here. So if you go to the Pantheon today, you'll see one panel of that, and then the other stuff is the so-called restore stuff, which looks nothing like the original. And well, that's cool. A nice little detail. Two kings of Italy are buried in the Pantheon: Vittorio Emanuele II and Umberto I, as well as Umberto's queen Margherita. Although Italy has been a republic since 1946, volunteer members of Italian monarchist organizations maintain a vigil over the royal tombs in the Pantheon. This has aroused protests from time to time from Republicans, but the Catholic authorities allow the practice to continue, although the Italian Ministry of Cultural Heritage is in charge of the security and maintenance. Okay. The Pantheon is in use as a church. Masses are celebrated there, in particular on important Catholic holy day of obligation, as are weddings. Wow, you can get married in the Pantheon. That's cool. Alright, structure. Yeah, so I mean, it looks pretty much the same as it does in game, just bigger in real life. The building was originally approached by a flight of steps, although later construction raised the level of the ground leading to the portico, eliminating the steps. Alright, so there's supposed to be a few steps. How many steps? Let's see. In game there's like 2 steps. How much is there in real life today? I think no, that's in Paris. That's the wrong one. The one in Rome. Alright, there's 2 steps, so supposedly there used to be more steps. The pediment was decorated with relief sculptures, probably of gilded bronze. Holes marking the location of clamps that held the sculpture suggest that its design was likely an eagle within a reef. Ribbons extended from the wreath into the corners of the pediment. So the old Roman eagle and the wreath. Actually, should I look it up? Roman eagle. So the Roman eagle and the wreath. I mean, it's something. It's something like that. Something like that. Similar to that SPQR. You know, that. It took 732 construction workers over 3 years to construct the Pantheon. Citation needed though. Huh. The Pantheon's porch was originally designed for monolithic granite columns with shafts 50 Roman feet tall, weighing about 100 tons, and capitals 10 Roman feet tall in the Corinthian style. The taller porch would have hidden the second pediment visible on the intermediate block. Instead, the builders made many awkward adjustments in order to use shafts 40 Roman feet tall and capitals 8 Roman feet tall. Wait a minute. So they made it so the original design was bigger than what it is. This substitution was probably a result of logistical difficulties at some stage in the construction. The grey granite columns that were actually used in the Pantheon's pronaos were quarried in Egypt and Mons Claudianus in the eastern mountains. Each was 39 feet tall, 5 feet in diameter, and 60 tons in weight. They brought the stone from Egypt. These were dragged more than 100 kilometers from the quarry to the river on wooden sledges. They were floated by barge down the Nile River when the water level was high during the spring floods, and then transferred to vessels to cross the Mediterranean Sea to the Roman port of Ostia. There they were transferred back onto barges and pulled up the Tiber River to Rome. They brought these things from Egypt. After being unloaded near the mausoleum of Augustus, the site of the Pantheon was still about 700 meters away. Thus it was necessary to either drag them or move them on rollers to the construction site. In the walls at the back of the Pantheon's porticos are niches, perhaps intended for statues of Julius Caesar, Augustus Caesar, and Agrippa, or for the Capitoline Triad, or another set of gods. They're just speculating. I mean, there's 3 porticos, they don't know what was in them. The large bronze doors to the cellar, once plated with gold, are ancient but not the original ones of the Pantheon. The current doors, manufactured too small for the door frames, have been there since about the 15th century. So gold plating... I mean, there's a lot of gold plating in the game. I don't know if this is historically accurate or if they've taken liberties with it, but there's a lot of gold plating in the game. And you can bet that none of that would have survived the barbarians. Although this is a Christian church. So this is after the Christians got hold of it. What on earth is that sound? Can I like... Alright, let's run away from it. So... there's a lot of gold, isn't there? Anyway. The rotunda, the 4,535 metric tons weight of the Roman concrete dome is concentrated on a ring of Vaussures 9.1 meters in diameter that form the oculus. That refers to arches? They form the oculus, while the downward thrust of the dome is carried by 8 barrel vaults in the 6.4 meter thick drum wall onto 8 piers. The thickness of the dome varies from 6.4 meters at the base of the dome to 1.2 meters around the oculus. It's 1.2 meters thick around the oculus. Hold on, where are the piers? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 piers. I don't see any arches. It's 1.2 meters thick. 1.2 meters thick around the oculus. Should we climb? Let's climb. I want to see how thick it is in the game. Remembering that this is about half as big as the real thing. Why can't you do that? Yes, you can. And here? Why can't you do that? Can I do this? And yes, I can. Alright. So here we are at the top of it. Much too small. 1.2 meters thick? That's not... How thick is that? I think it is actually half as thick. Hold on, no, I can just come down here, can I? Can you just come down here? 1.2 meters though. That's actually kind of close, isn't it? Not quite 1.2 meters. But maybe not... it seems a bit more than half of that though. Anyway. So no tensile test results are available on the concrete used in the Pantheon. Because to do that you have to break the Pantheon to test it. However, Cohen discussed tests on ancient concrete from Roman ruins in Libya, which give a compressive strength of 200 megapascals. An empirical relationship gives a tensile strength of 1.47 megapascals for this specimen. Finite element analysis of the structure by Mark and Hutchison found a maximum tensile strength of only 128 kilopascals at the point where the dome joins the raised outer wall. That's kind of way too detailed in just one paragraph. The stresses in the dome were found to be substantially reduced by the use of successively less dense aggregate stones. Such as small pots or pieces of pumice in higher layers of the dome. Mark and Hutchison estimated that if normal waste concrete had been used throughout, the stresses in the arch would have been some 80% greater. Hidden chambers engineered within the rotunda form a sophisticated honeycomb structure. This reduced the weight of the roof, as did the elimination of the apex by means of the oculus. Alright, so not only is there the coffering, but the interior is also partly hollow, and they use less dense aggregate as you went higher up. So the dome is actually much lighter than it seems. The top of the rotunda wall features a series of brick relieving arches, visible on the outside and built into the mass of the brickwork. We can see that. So we just climbed one of them before. So these things, so there's like arches in the wall, and that actually strengthens the brick here. Because arches are strong. I don't know if you know how arches work. If you don't, you should look it up. So the arches here actually strengthen the dome. The Pantheon is full of such devices. For example, there are relieving arches over the recesses inside, but all these arches are hidden by marble facing on the interior and possibly by stone revetment or stucco on the exterior. The height to the oculus and the diameter of the interior circle are the same, so the whole interior will fit exactly within a cube. Also, the interior could house a sphere 43.3 meters in diameter. These dimensions make more sense when expressed in ancient Roman units of measurement. The dome spans 150 Roman feet, the oculus is 30 Roman feet in diameter, the doorway is 40 Roman feet high. The Pantheon still holds the record for the world's largest, that's like the third time it said that, largest unreinforced concrete dome. It is also substantially larger than earlier domes. So there's, not only is the shape of it pretty good, but there's a whole lot of engineering in the brickwork and in the concrete making that makes this thing even possible. Though often drawn as a freestanding building, there was a building at its rear into which it was abutted. While this building helped buttress the rotunda, there was no interior passage from one to the other. Alright, interior. Actually, the gold... Let's see. So the gold is there today. And there's the panel that's been restored. That's the actual historical panel that we see today in the game, but not in the real life. So there is a bit of gold leaf on the walls, right? The interior of the dome was possibly intended to symbolize the arched vault of the heavens. The oculus at the dome's apex and the entry door are the only natural sources of light in the interior. Throughout the day, the light from the oculus moves around the space in a sort of reverse sundial effect. The oculus also serves as a cooling and ventilation method. During storms, a drainage system below the floor handles the rain that falls through the oculus. The dome features sunken panels, coffers, in 5 rings of 28. This evenly spaced layout was difficult to achieve, and it is presumed had symbolic meaning, either numerical, geometric, or lunar. Maybe. In antiquity, the coffers may have contained bronze stars, rosettes, or other ornaments. May have. Circles and squares form the unifying theme of the interior design. The checkerboard floor pattern contrasts with the concentric circles of square coffers in the dome. Can we see that from up here? Or just fall off and die. That works. The great thing about dying is you don't have to use medicine to heal. You just kind of respawn. Where are we? We're at the back of the Pantheon. Let's go back to the front. So there used to be another building right here, but it's gone now. So the checkerboard pattern on the ground contrasts with the circles of the dome. I'm sure it does, but this is like, how do you know that this is original? This might not be original. This might be a later renovation. But there's also sorts of, you know, circles within squares and all that. And this whole thing is circles and squares and everything. All right. Each zone of the interior, from floor to ceiling, is subdivided according to a different scheme. As a result, the interior decorative zones do not line up. The overall effect is immediate viewer orientation according to the major axis of the building. Even though the cylindrical space topped by a hemispherical dome is inherently ambiguous, I don't know if I agree with that. No, not really. I mean, there's that, and then there's that. So I don't know what it was talking about. The interior decorative zones did not line up. Like, how does that not, like, how is that related to the axis, which is the door and that little thing there, the alcove there? And they do line up in the game. So the columns there line up with that. That lines up with that. That lines up with that. I mean, it doesn't line up with the dome though, look at that. So that there, that doesn't line up. That kind of lines up. That doesn't line up. That kind of... No, it lines up. Everything lines up, kind of. Whatever. Christian's modifications. The prison high altars and the apses were commissioned by Pope Clement the 11th and designed by Alessandro Specchi. Do I want to read this? Maybe I do. Actually, I think I do. Actually, no I don't. There's a lot of paintings and sculptures. Not much of the actual architecture. I kind of want to see if they change the architecture, but no, it's just talking about putting the artwork and new statues into the niches. Third niche, yeah, blah blah blah. Alright, so this is all artwork, and that's the gallery. And I guess that's the Pantheon. I mean, there's other stuff here. Nope, not that interesting. Alright, so the one in game is about half as big as the real thing. But aside from that, it is very well recreated in the game. This is an aerial photo, isn't it? Let's see, there's a pretty small image there. Yeah, it's a pretty good recreation of the one in the game. There's a thing on the fountain outside. I just noticed that the fountain is different. The real fountain has a sort of an obelisk in the middle. It's not quite like that. I guess it doesn't really matter that much. So yeah, imagine this thing, but twice as big. That's how massive the real thing is. And I guess that's all we have for this building. So what should we do in the next video? I was thinking we should do some aqueducts, but actually there's one more rather important location. And I keep forgetting the name of it. Not that, not those. We should do the... oh crap. We should do the Castel San Angelo at some point as well. We can't really do St. Peter's because it's not really finished in the game. I keep forgetting... It's a rather important location and I keep forgetting it. Piazza Navona, it's pretty cool in real life. In game it's way too small. No. No, there's a bunch of churches too. And then the ruins, the Senatorial Palace? Palazzo de Conservatori? This. Il Campidoglio. How do you actually pronounce that? Il Campidoglio? Il Campidoglio? So that is kind of important. I keep forgetting the name of it. Anyway, so the next video we'll go look at that. And that actually includes several of the buildings around it. So we'll go look at that in the next video. I'll see you guys there.